Kent State football team hit the road to take on the Arkansas Razorbacks. Find out if they pulled off the upset.
And NFL returns to Cleveland as the Browns hosted Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals.
And the Guardians spent the weekend in Anaheim. We tell you how they fared with the Angels and more as Sports Corner starts right now. We are back. I'm your host, Liv Sharp. That's Blake Goloja, and this is the first edition of Sports Corner for this new semester.
Yeah, Liv, not only is Sports Corner back, but so is college football. Let's take it way down south to Razorback Stadium and kick off these highlights.
And folks, he means kick off literally as we get things started with a 48-yard Andrew Glass field goal. Flashes are up 3-0. Kenny Burns is excited. His Flashes struck first. Late in the first, Michael Limo drops back looking for a receiver, but he is intercepted by Antonio Greer, who takes it all the way to the house for a pick six. Arkansas will take a 7-3 lead with a minute left in the first. Taking a closer look at this play, folks, Alimo is going to fake the handoff to his running back and was looking for a receiver, but Greer just placed himself perfectly to leap up and grab that ball. Alimo misses a tackle there, so it's a rough start for the Flashes. 3rd and 10 for the Razorbacks. KJ Jefferson at QB, but the Flashes come rushing, and linebacker Matt Harmon will come away with the sack. Great defensive pressure from the Flashes early. Kent, another field goal, 38 yards from Andrew Glass. Kent State is now up 6-7 with 6:30 left in the first half. 3rd and goal for Arkansas. Low snap. Jefferson scoops it up, finds Andrew Armstrong in the back of the end zone for a 5-yard touchdown reception. Arkansas up 14-6. 2nd and goal for Arkansas. They're on the 2-yard line. Jefferson hands it off to Rashad Dubinion. Dubinion leaps into the end zone, or rather gets hauled down in the end zone. Arkansas is now up 21-6. Jefferson fakes the handoff again, runs to the left out of the pocket and connects with, you guessed it, Armstrong. And that'll be all she wrote, folks. Arkansas wins 28-6. They improved to 2-0. Kent falls to 0-2, but they're coming home for the home opener. Here's Coach Kenny Burns on the game.
We did a lot of things that were better today. Didn't win. Obviously, we want to win the games. That's why we play. But I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged with how we played. They had a tough week of practice, and they came out and they responded. You know, when you look at it, it's really a tale of two halves. The first half, I think we had more plays than they did. The second half, obviously, they were on the field a lot more. And when you're playing a good team like that, you got to control the clock. And we didn't do that in the second half. And we got to learn from it. But a lot to build up of. This is a good football team, and we're figuring it out each game we play.
Well, Blake, they've got the home opener against Central Connecticut State this Saturday. What do you want to see from Kent State?
Well, it's one word. It's offense. I mean, we need that offense to start to get going. 12 points, none on touchdowns. We're still looking to get in the end zone for the first time, and that's got to happen soon. And it's a great matchup versus Central Connecticut to start kick-starting them on offense. I mean, we got to start with Alimo, too, the quarterback, and getting it to those receivers, Terrell Harris and Keyshawn McCray. That's going to open up the field even more for running back Gavin Garcia, and that's going to help us out a lot on offense. And then that defense, it looked good in that first half, especially against Arkansas. And let's carry that over into Central Connecticut and knock them off.
Absolutely. They have all the pieces. They got to put them together. You mentioned the passing game. I want to talk about the run game. The run game has to improve. I mean, it was abysmal against Arkansas, who we know is a very, very good defense, so we'll chalk it up to that. But they had 26 yards on the ground, whole game, negative 30 yards just in the second half, and they've got a solid running back in Gavin Garcia. 68 yards on 18 attempts. I think if they can put him into motion, that will help getting things started. But like you said, what I really want to see, we want to see a touchdown, folks, above all.
Keeping things at Dick's Stadium, the Kent State soccer team beat Duquesne by the score of 2-1 on Senior Day. The Golden Flashes managed to score 2 goals in the second half from Sienna Stambolich and Amanda Winquist. Kent State closed it out by only allowing 1 goal from the Dukes. The Flashes will be back next Thursday as they hit the road to Athens to take on the Ohio Bobcats.
The Kent State men's golf team is in Minneapolis to open their season, and they are looking for consistent success this fall. In last year's Gopher Invitational, they finished tied for second with Kansas, posting a -15 as they fell short by 5 strokes to Georgia Southern. Some key players to look out for this fall are Cade Breitenstein and Chris Vandetti, as they have won MAC Golfer of the Year in their career with the Golden Flashes. Head coach John Mills will have his team looking to return to the top after a straight 6 titles ended last season at the hands of Northern Illinois.
The Kent State women's golf team will start their season in New Mexico, and they have an important streak to keep alive. They will look to win their 25th MAC title, as they've won every tournament since it began. Head coach Casey Van Dam has 7 golfers on the roster, including 5 returning golfers from last season. The team has some tournaments to get excited for, including some that are hosted by Michigan State, Tennessee, and Ohio State.
Heading over to field hockey, Kent State fell at the hands of Bucknell by the score of 2-1. The Golden Flashes scored the only goal of the first half when Emma Ralston put one in the back of the net. Even though Kent State led the game in saves 10-4, they lost due to 2 goals scored by the Bison in the final 5 minutes. The Flashes will be back in action on Friday for their conference opener against Mount Pleasant at Central Michigan at 3 o'clock.
The Kent State volleyball team returns home on Friday against Youngstown State for their first home game after 9 invitational games. The Golden Flashes went 3-6 in that span and will hit the road on Thursday to play Cleveland State. A player to watch for is sophomore Mackenzie McGuire, as she leads the team with 82 kills. For updates on these games and all things Kent State sports, follow us across social media at tv2.ksusports.
Well, like we talked about, Kent State soccer opens up conference play next week. How do you think they're going to fare?
I think they're going to do pretty well. I mean, against Duquesne, they looked pretty good. Their defense has looked really good. It's a reoccurring theme right now. It's the offense that has to get going. Just like in football, soccer has to get it going too. They have 2 great freshmen. That freshman duo of Alana Rymandu and Josie Morgan. They both have 2 goals apiece already. And building off of that offense, they could do really well. Their goalie, Sarah Melian, 7 games, 29 saves, and only 8 goals allowed. So if they keep riding that amazing goaltending, it's going to be a good season for the Flashes.
I absolutely agree. I see them placing 3rd or 4th in the MAC. The team is bolstered by a really strong freshman core like you mentioned. I also want to toss in the name Ava Todd. She's been spectacular. Plus, the back line has been really strong in these games. They haven't been able to break down much. Duquesne was able to get nothing started against them. We've even seen them play down the levels of other teams. It's been really impressive thus far. My only con is that they seem to struggle closing out games. They're not scoring at all in that back third, and that could be pretty difficult if they're not scoring well in the beginning 2/3 of the game. But other than that, I think it's a bright future for these Flashes.
For sure.
We're switching now from college athletics to some high school football. Let's kick things off with some Streetsboro and Norton highlights. Norton QB Zach Bowman fires to Noah Willig, who turns on the Jets. He's at the 30, the 20, the 10, and that's a house call, folks, as Norton will take an early 7-0 lead in the first. Bowman's going to scramble and connect with Buddy Weilig, who copies his brother and takes this one all the way to the house. Norton takes a 14-0 lead with 7 minutes still to go in the first quarter. Bowman, having an absolutely fabulous game, connects once again with Buddy as he has his 2nd touchdown on the night. Norton now leads 21-0. Streetsboro finally getting in on the action as QB Cohen Climac hits Preston Hopperton in stride, and the Rockets trail by 14. Climac is going to drop back to pass, but it's intercepted by Panther Andrew Lewis. Take a look at this one, folks. Climac looking for an open receiver, but Lewis places himself perfectly, grabs it, takes it to the house. Norton now leads 35-7. Streetsboro trying to get something started in the 4th. Preston Hopperton is going to take this one in for 6, but Norton will still get the W, 14-35.
Now let's look at some more of those Week 4 scores. Twinsburg losing to Wadsworth 35-24. Revere getting manhandled by Aurora 49-14. Mogador shutting out Newark Catholic 28-0. East also getting shut out by Hoban 39-0. Warren losing to St. Vincent St. Mary 42-28.
We'll take it from high school fields to the college level as we take a look at the Ohio State Buckeyes after the break.
Brush, brushy, brush, brushy, brush, brush your teeth. Every day and every night. Now it's your parents' turn. Here's what you gotta do. Let them have your toothbrush so that they can brushy brush your teeth. Good job, you're almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go! Help your teeth stay healthy. Brushy brush with a grown-up every day.
heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Week 2 of college football featured some big statement wins, but none larger than one down in Tuscaloosa. We will get to that game, but let's first start at the Horseshoe where Ohio State took on Youngstown State. The Buckeye fans, faithful, getting ready for this one in the shoe. First one there this season, and Kyle McCord's going to give him something to cheer about pretty early as he finds Marvin Harrison Jr. 71-yard touchdown to the house. Marvin Harrison Jr. had a phenomenal game. We'll see more from him later. But first, Mitch Davidson's going to keep it. Quarterback, touchdown, 7-7 Youngstown State, staying with Ohio State for a little bit. It's going to be Kyle McCord again here as he's going to play action this. 39 yards out, he's going to put it on the money for Marvin Harrison Jr. 7 receptions, 160 yards, and 2 touchdowns for the star wide receiver. They can run the ball too as Travion Henderson, 13 yards out, puts it in for 6. 21-7 now. Ohio State starting to run away with this. They're going to go for it on 4th down. And Ibuka is going to make it a 28-yard touchdown off that screen pass. A great call by Ryan Day on that 4th down. Henderson, once again, bouncing it to the outside. 30 yards to the house. He is going to wave these Ohio State fans home happy. 35-7, Ohio State wins it.
It's a rainy day as the NC State Wolfpack host Notre Dame, and it's a bad day to be a scoreboard as it's going to get struck by lightning and go down. But you know what? Let's get to the highlights. Sam Hartman hands it off to Audric Estime. 80-yard run to the house. There goes Estime. That's the first play after a 2-hour delay, but Estime stayed warm that whole time. Notre Dame is up 10-0. My goodness, folks. You know Marcus Freeman is thrilled by that phenomenal run. Way to get things started in NC State. 3rd and goal for Wolfpack QB Brennan Armstrong. He scrambles out of the pocket with time and throws to 8th-year senior Bradley Rosner. The Pack now trail 10-7. 1st and 10, Hartman fires a great throw to Jaden Greathouse, and Notre Dame extends their lead 17-7. Amazing accuracy by Hartman, throwing into tough coverage, but it was never a doubt. 2nd and 2, Hartman pitches to Holden Stays. Stays will take off. A defender tries to push him out of bounds, but he is off to the house. Fighting Irish now up 24-10. 3rd and 17 for NC State. Armstrong looking for Kevin Concepcion, but he bobbles it, and Xavier Watts catches it. That's a turnover for the Fighting Irish. Early in the 4th, Hartman's going to hit David Sherwood, who's going to bully his way into the end zone. The big tight end getting things done, and Notre Dame will end with a dominant win over NC State, 45-24.
Let's head out to Colorado as a sold-out Folsom Stadium getting fired up by Ralphie the Buffalo, and they had a lot to cheer about in this game. As Shedeur Sanders, 30 yards out, puts it on the money to Darvarius Dawson Jr. Look at that, just beating the Nebraska coverage, nobody behind to help. But Jeff Sims, Cornhuskers quarterback, finds a hole and a lot of green in front of him as he's going to take it to the house. 57-yard rushing touchdown for Sims. That's one of his only exclamation points on the day as he did not play terrifically. But Sanders, he played amazing, and he's going to find his main man Xavier Weaver as they've had a great connection through these first 2 games. It's 19-7 Colorado in the 3rd. 4th quarter now, 23-7. A little razzle-dazzle by the Buffaloes as it's going to go into the end zone. It is Dawson Jr. again. 2 total touchdowns on the day for him, 1 receiving and 1 rushing for number 6. Sanders also had one terrific game, 393 yards, 3 total touchdowns, one of them being right here as he's going to run it in, exclamation point for Colorado as they knock off Nebraska. And they got Colorado State next week, 36-14. Here comes the fans.
And it's time for a true blue blood battle. Alabama hosting Texas. Let's get into it, folks. 8:35 less than the first. Bama QB Jaden Milroe throwing into double coverage, and Jahdae Barron brings it to the 30. Milroe himself making that tackle. He might have a career on the defensive line. 1st and 10, Quinn Ewers will unload a 44-yard deep ball to Xavier Worthy. Take a look at that one. My goodness, into the end zone, and the Longhorns take a 10-3 lead. We jump ahead to the 3rd. 3rd and 4th, Milroe fires downfield to Isaiah Bond. That's a 35-yard deep ball as he catches him in stride. Milroe will fake the handoff and use his cannon once again to launch the ball 49 yards to hit Jermaine Burton in stride. Alabama taking a commanding 16-13 lead. Ewers ball. He fakes, fires it off to Jatavian Sanders. And how many defenders will it take to bring Jatavian Sanders down? Let's count, folks. There's one coming up behind him. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The final answer is 8. But that's going to set up 1st and goal for Texas. 1st and goal, like I said, Ewers play fake. He finds Adonai Mitchell all alone in the end zone. The Georgia transfer telling the crowd to quiet down. The Longhorns are rolling up 20-16. And speaking of rolling, the Texas defense continues to roll the tide as they pick off Milroe again and will take it back all the way to the 5. Jaron Thompson doing amazing work. Good hustle and tough defense to get Texas back into the red zone. Now it's 1st and goal for Ewers. He hands it off to Jonathan Brooks, who muscles his way into the end zone, and Texas extends their lead 27-16. Low snap for Bama here. Milroe scoops it up and fires to Amari Needblack. The Tide desperately need to get into the end zone, and Needblack will do just that. Bama not done yet, folks, as they now trail 27-24. And a leaping grab for Needblack. He's going to break a few tackles on his way into the end zone, but Quinn Ewers and Texas are just too much to handle. This one will end as it all began with a deep ball downfield. Adonai Mitchell and the Longhorns stop the Tide 34-24.
Let's go over to Texas Tech taking on number 13 Oregon. This was a back and forth battle all day. Bo Nix long ball to start it off, 72 yards to Troy Franklin. And that was a terrific way to start it for Oregon. Franklin 103 yards and a touchdown on the day. But Tyler Show, 5 yards untouched into the end zone. A lot of QB runs so far today, as we've got one in every highlight so far. Show is going to show off his arm right here too, as Jerron Bradley, 34 yards into the breadbasket, as Texas Tech is rolling 27-18. But Bucky Irvin, some of the hardest 3 yards you will see on that run, as he was contacted all the way, but he gets in for 6. Now, time running down. Show is hit, and it is given away. Jeffrey Bassa is going to take it to the house for Oregon to make it a 38-30 game. Texas Tech was driving down the field, and that is a heartbreaker. They have one more chance. A deep drop, throwing it up to the end zone. Hail Mary, picked off. 38-30, Oregon hangs on to beat them.
Finally, we have Wisconsin hosting Washington State. Cameron Ward finds a wide open Kyle Williams, who just walks into the end zone, and the Cougars take a 7-0 lead. It's 1st and goal for Wazoo. Quick receiver screen, and Ward hits Lincoln Victor, and the Cougs are rolling up 14-0. Tanner Mordecai is at QB for the Badgers. Pressure is going to come from behind, and the ball will be knocked loose. And big man Brennan Jackson with the scoop and score for the defensive TD. You love to see that one, folks. Washington now up 24-6. Mordecai never saw that one coming. Ron Stone Jr. with the stone cold pressure. It is 1st and 10 for Wisconsin with 35 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Mordecai drops back under heavy pressure, launches to Skylar Bell in the end zone, and now the Badgers only trail by 2. That one was right in the breadbasket. Heavy coverage on Bell, but he still makes the snag. 1st and goal for the Cougars. Ward will hand it off to Nikhil Watson. Watson will bully his way into the end zone. Touchdown Washington State, and the Cougars get the W 31-22 in the upset over the Badgers. We head over to Ryan Shanko with his top 25.
Thank you, Liv. I really missed this, and like she said, I'm Ryan Shanko, and if you're anything like me, you miss college football even more than this over the summer. Well, CFB is BACK, and week 2 has come and gone, so it's top 25 time right now. We're going to start at the top of the top 25, but first, at this point in the season, teams are ranked by the AP poll, but around here, we really just use the RS poll. So we're going to talk about some of the teams that I dropped out of my top 25 first. We said goodbye to TCU, Texas A&M, Wisconsin, and Tulane, and I felt like Iowa, Clemson, and Cincinnati were right on the outside looking in, but right now, without further ado, Here we go. At number 25, first of 4 newcomers this week, it's Washington State. We just saw their big win over Wisconsin. It was an upset that I saw coming. They've got Northern Colorado, which should be a gimme next week. At 24, Miami, the Hurricanes, weathered the storm of Texas A&M coming into their house. They got a big win. They've got Bethune-Cookman, another gimme next week. At 23, the Jayhawks, Kansas waved the wheat on their way to a win against Illinois. And at 22, another newcomer, the last one of this week, it's UCLA, with true freshman Dante Moore commanding things for the Bruins. At number 21, we've got LSU. They started up high, lost to Florida State, and fell hard for me. Still in the top 25 at 21. Number 20, it's Duke. They knocked off Clemson in week 1, and I think that team has potential to rise much higher as the season goes on. Number 19, we've got Oklahoma. Not really been tested yet, won't be tested next week either against Tulsa. Falling a few spots is North Carolina. They struggled to defeat an App State team that had a lot of roster turnover after last season. Number 17, America's team, the Colorado Buffs. Coach Prime, absolutely scintillating start for the Buffaloes. Game day goes to Boulder next week for Colorado and Colorado State. At number 16, Ole Miss. Tulane did not have Michael Pratt, but they did have Kai Horton at quarterback, and Ole Miss still took care of business. They got Georgia Tech next week. Utah falls a few spots. They struggled to beat a Baylor team that got demolished by Texas State in week 1. So they win by 7 and fall 3 spots. Number 14, Kansas State. They beat a good Troy team. They get Missouri next week. Number 13 here, it's Oregon State. DJ Uiagalelei has looked the part as the Beavers quarterback. They get San Diego State at home next week in Corvallis. Number 12, Ohio State, yes, at 12. I have not liked what I've seen from Kyle McCord quite yet. Their entire offense is Marvin Harrison Jr. They have not been tested either. They get Western Kentucky next week, and then it's Notre Dame. Number 11, Alabama. They suffered a loss to Texas. They did not look good. Jalen Milroe struggled mightily. They go to South Florida next week, which is very interesting. See if they can bounce back on the road. Number 10, Oregon. Big win against Texas Tech. They get Hawaii next week. Number 9, Joe Milton and Tennessee. They kind of struggled against Austin Peay. They go to the Swamp next week. At number 8, it's the Huskies. Michael Penix looks like a Heisman favorite so far. The Huskies 2-0. They get Michigan State next week. At number 7, Sam Hartman and the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. They've looked dominant at times so far this year. They beat NC State handily on the road. Central Michigan up next for them. Number 6, Penn State. Medina's own Drew Aller looks great so far. They beat the wheels off Delaware. Illinois, up next. Number 5, Caleb Williams. The USC Fighting Caleb Williams. They beat the crap out of Stanford. They get a bye next week. Number 4, Texas into the playoff picture. They beat Alabama. Big win for them. They get Wyoming next week. Number 3, Florida State. Number 2 is Michigan. Jim Harbaugh will be back after next week's game against Bowling Green. And number 1, still the Georgia Bulldogs. We're in for another great week this weekend, and I just cannot wait to get into the action.
So, I know it's very early, we've mentioned that, but right now, in September, who is your Heisman pick?
I kind of wish you could give the Heisman to 2 guys right now. It's Shedeur Sanders and it's Travis Hunter. I got to give the edge to Travis Hunter, though. The way he has been able to dominate both sides of the ball, it's something that I have frankly never seen before, and it's something that nobody has ever seen before. This level of dominance, the endurance, everything, it's incredible.
And so there's been a lot of fireworks through 2 weeks in college football, but what do you think your biggest game of the season's been so far?
Well, it's got to be the one we saw in Tuscaloosa last week, Texas and Alabama. Like Liv said in the highlight, it was a battle of blue bloods, and Texas had the bluer blood, and Quinn Ewers looked amazing. Jalen Milroe did not. It was a statement win for Texas, and it's true to say, I think, that they're back.
So.
Well, jumping ahead to January, what is your national championship pick?
Well, I just talked well about Colorado, talked well about Texas, but I don't think anyone's beating Georgia. Until I see a team do it, the Bulldogs are going to be my pick to win it all this January.
Well, thank you so much, Ryan Shanko. When we come back, we're going to find out, could Deshaun Watson and the Browns get it done against the reigning AFC North champs? Stay tuned to find out.
Kids will spend 15 minutes watching online videos like this one.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
Jimmy can't sing, and Tommy can't dance, so we're gonna put some ants in their pants. Aww.
Kids will spend 22 minutes watching us, the super duper party troopers, sing about ants in their pants.
Isn't that funny? Ants in their pants, they got ants in their pants, they've got ants in their pants.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
Hey, did you know that 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Go to theshelterpetproject.org and search your local shelters and rescues. Go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
Danse, balance suis la cadence, ondule bien tes hanches, au bal du dimanche.
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Find yours at bedsider.org.
Welcome back. The NFL season started this weekend, and the Browns kicked off their season with a divisional matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's head to Cleveland Browns Stadium for the highlights. Joe Burrow with that nagging calf injury. We'll have to see how that affects him. 2nd and 10, 22 seconds left in the half. Deshaun Watson, he'll take it in himself to get things started for the Cleveland Browns. That's his first tutty on the year for the Browns. Cleveland's up 10-3, jumping ahead of the third. Watson fakes the handoff. He's going to evade heavy Cincinnati pressure here and will fire a gorgeous throw to the Cincinnati defense. That's going to be intercepted by Dax Hill as he finally gets shoved out of bounds. Thankfully, nothing came out of that drive there. Bengals going for it on 4th and 4, but watch out. Here comes Myles Garrett. He's hungry for his first sack of the season, and Joe Burrow goes down hard. It's 2nd and goal for the Browns. Watson drops back and connects with Harrison Bryant for a 3-yard touchdown. Watch out, folks. Here come the new-look Browns. They're going to win this one 24-3. And who day? Day 0-1. But the Browns win their first home opener since 2004.
Cleveland won it. Let's see how their rival Pittsburgh does today. They're home against the 49ers. We're going to start with the Niners. Play action. Purdy finds Ayuk wide open in the back of the end zone for 6. Ayuk had a terrific game. Hopefully you started in fantasy. I wasn't that smart. Now Pickett gets picked off here as Deontay Johnson falls down. Charvarius Ward takes it right out of his hands. Let's go over to the kicking side of the game. Jake Moody, 41 yards out, puts it right through. He was 3 for 3 on the day. Great job by Moody. Purdy now. A Purdy throw to Ayuk as he puts it right on the line. That's not 1, but that's 2 touchdowns for Ayuk. Freiermuth gets on the board for the Steelers just before halftime, 20-7. Now in the third quarter, CMC does what he does. He turns on the Jets after spinning out of a tackle, and nobody is going to catch that man in the open field. The Niners roll Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, 30-7.
Good evening, Portage County. I'm Alex Isaiah, and I'm here to take you around the NFL. And we start in New England, where the GOAT, Tom Brady, is being honored, ringing the bell, hyping the crowd up. And we start halfway through the first quarter. Mac Jones, in empty formation, drops back, looking for Kendrick Bourne. It's tipped in there and in the hands of Darius Big Play Slay. And Darius Slay looking to make an even bigger play here. Quarterback can't touch him. And he's going to go 70 yards to the house and put the Eagles up 10 early in the first quarter. And he's going to do his dance after getting his first pick on the year. And after a fumble, Jalen Hurts sprints out right, and he finds his Bama teammate Devontae Smith 4-6, and he shouts out his newborn with this celebration right here. As the Eagles and New England now second and goal, Mac Jones looking to cut in deficit finds Hunter Henry for the score, putting it right where only his guy can get it, and Tom Brady is loving it. 2nd and 3 now, Mac Jones, and looking in the end zone, finds Kendrick Bourne for his first touchdown of the day to make things interesting. In the 4th quarter now, Mac Jones shotgun one more time. The Kendrick Bourne toe drag swag, making it a 1-score game here late in the 4th quarter. Last chance for the Patriots, 4th and 11, Patriots. Looking for Kayshon Boutte, who will not get both feet in, and Nick Sirianni knows it, as the Eagles take down the Patriots 25-20 and will start 1-0 as they beat the Patriots.
We head up north to Minnesota. Skol Vikings as they are hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's kick things off, folks. 3rd and 11, Kirk Cousins drops back and will hit Jordan Addison. Deep ball for Kirk, and the Vikes are up early, 7-3 in the 2nd quarter. New Tampa quarterback Baker Mayfield will do what he does best and throw a bomb to Mike Evans. It is now a tie game, 10-10 before halftime. Baker's found a new home in Tampa Bay. Tampa's in the red zone, 3rd and goal. Baker will wait patiently in the pocket and hit Trey Palmer in the end zone. Tampa leads 17-10. 2nd and goal, Cousins will find Madison, a favorite target of his. Madison will stumble. He's going to break a tackle and muscle his way into the end zone, earning every inch. Now we are tied again at 17. Chase McLaughlin with a 57-yard boot to put Tampa Bay ahead by 3, 20-17. But it is Baker, first down maker to end this one. He's going to hit Chris Godwin, and Tampa gets the W, 20-17.
It was Chicago facing Green Bay here as Jordan Love throws a strike to the back of the end zone. That's Romeo Doubs. He had himself a game, probably more reception yards than the entire Chicago offense. Aaron Jones is going to get up a screen, and he's going to turn on the Jets all the way to the end zone. Or nope, sorry, at the 6-yard line he goes down, but he's going to get it in anyways. Touchdown, Aaron Jones. Green Bay starting to run away with this one. Jordan Love finding Jones once again on 4th down. This is the one that he gets into the end zone. As he pulls up there on the hamstring, he did not return to the game, but on the bright side, he did look like he was ready to go on the sidelines. Justin Fields is going to have a pretty pass over to, that would be Darnell Mooney. Love throwing it over to Doubs once again into the fade. A terrific catch. 31-14, Green Bay putting the beat down on Chicago, and they're going to cap it with an interception. Justin Fields looked horrible. Chicago didn't take any steps to improve on the offseason, it looks like, as they were supposed to be great, and it just turned totally on them. Trying to punch it in here, 38-14. They are going to get a little back. That is Johnson on the touchdown. Love embracing Chase Claypool at the center. Green Bay rolling Chicago.
Chargers and Dolphins in SoFi Stadium. Justin Herbert's going to start things off at the goal line. He's going to sneak it in for 6 as the Chargers retake the lead in this back-and-forth affair. Tua Tagovailoa now drops back and he fires a perfect ball to Tyreek Hill. He had a huge day today with 215 yards. Put the Dolphins up. Herbert now in the red zone, hands it off to Joshua Kelly. He rushes in for the 6 as the Chargers will retake the lead early in the 4th quarter. And Tua empties it out with 3:46 to go. Drops back, he's looking, he evades pressure, and he throws it up to Tyreek Hill, and he comes down with it on this big 3rd down conversion. He is fired up. And 3rd and goal now, the Dolphins. Tua throws a fade to Tyreek Hill, and he tags at the last minute. Nice play by Hill as Dolphins will retake the lead here. Justin Herbert, last chance now, but he has no time as he is sandwiched by Jalen Phillips and Justin Bethel as the Dolphins take this big statement win over the Chargers in Week 1.
So, Alex, after Week 1, who would you say had the most surprising performance?
I would say the Miami Dolphins, as we just saw, they picked up a big statement win over the Chargers, and Tua, he proved all the haters wrong. He played well and he made throws on the money, and he went toe-to-toe with Herbert in this heavyweight Chargers offense, and he looked like the better quarterback, dare I say. And this Dolphins defense as well, without Jalen Ramsey, they still look very promising, and they gave up a lot of points, but they got stops and sacks in key moments.
Well, who would you say had the most disappointing week 1?
I think I would say the New York Giants, and the credit goes to the Cowboys defense. This is a very heavy Super Bowl contending defense from top to bottom. Micah Parsons is a once-in-a-generation player, but the Giants had a very productive season last year, and getting blown out by 40 at home after making the playoffs the previous year by a division rival has to be the most embarrassing way to start a season. They paid Daniel Jones all that money, and they re-signed Saquon Barkley, but they failed to convert in the red zone and on third down and showed zero resistance to Dallas' offense.
So after those week 1 games, who would you say is the biggest matchup going into week 2?
I would say it's a Thursday night matchup, Eagles and the Vikings. Both teams performed below expectations yesterday, and they will look to make a statement in a potential playoff preview. And the Vikings, especially after Philadelphia embarrassed them last season, Darius Slay holding Justin Jefferson to his worst performance. And on top of the very tough loss the Vikings took yesterday to Tampa Bay, Eagles are looking to show out for the home fans after a droll and lackluster offensive performance against New England. And I know the Eagles looked around the league and saw what the Niners and Cowboys were doing, and they wanted to prove something on Thursday.
Well, we can't jump to week 2 just yet. We've got one more game, which is Monday Night Football. Right now, it's the Bills at the New York Jets. No score yet, but Aaron Rodgers was carted off with an ankle injury. He is questionable to return. Zach Wilson right now is in at QB for the New York Jets.
The Cleveland Guardians try to stay in the race to win the AL Central with a trip to Anaheim to take on the Angels. Could they get it done in Cali? Find out when we return.
I'll be here to hear what's on your mind. Take this time to talk and get it right. You know I'll be there all your life. When you need me, I'll be by your side. By your side. And every day is a different day. Everything is in everything. Even when you think things could never ever be the same. Don't be scared of the world, I'll be here to stay. By your side. Even when your heart ain't listening, or your mind takes you a different way, towards a different path. All you gotta do is sit and ask. When you need me, I'll be by your side.
When the adults in a child's life talk early and often about the dangers of underage drinking, the message gets stronger every time.
I'll be by your side.
Talk. They hear you.
With less than a month to go in baseball, teams are looking to lock in for the final playoff push. Last night, the Guards looked to split their 4-game series versus the Angels. Let's head out to Anaheim. We're going to start with that ex-Angel, Cole Calhoun. He knows this stadium and he knows it well. Launching it into the right field bleachers for a home run. Guardians get an early lead, but that is going to be taken away pretty quickly. Randall Grichuk is going to round out the third base, but it is going to get Kyron Paris home to score. 2-1 Angels, and that's really all they're going to need, as the Angels pitching pretty much dominated this Guardians team. Bo Naylor, a corner, questionable call, strikes out. David Fry swinging. Kenny Rosenberg, pretty great day. 5 innings pitched, 6 hits, only 1 earned run, and 4 Ks. Last chance for the Guardians here as Will Brennan is going to come up and he's going to ground it out to Kyron Price as Carlos Estevez earning the save for the Angels. The Guardians are going to look to bounce back tonight as they start a 3-game series versus the Giants. First pitch slated for 9:45.
Well, the Guardians are 7.5 games back in the AL Central. What do you want to see happen in the offseason right now? Let's not talk about postseason. Let's skip postseason, just go straight to the offseason. What do you want to see happen?
So, I mean, we could be here all day. This could be just a whole show on talking about Guardians offseason if we really wanted to. But, I mean, we always have a good youth program. You know, Bo Naylor, Tanner Bybee, Gavin Williams. Let's build around that, start getting that rotation back up to where we are at exceptional. Usually we have a great rotation. We need that. And let's bulk up that bullpen a little bit. You know, these last few games have shown that there's been a few open spots there. We got Class A at the end of it, but we got to get to the 9th inning first. And of course, more offense. I mean, Guardians, that's been their theme for the last maybe 4 years now, trying to find that offensive piece, and they just can't do it. Maybe this offseason we find that veteran bat that we so desperately need.
I mean, I don't really have that much of a wish list for the Guardians. Sure, I'd like to see them add a veteran bat or add some solid pieces to the bullpen, but when the spring comes, I'm not really sure how this team is going to look. I think, sadly, Tito Francona will be retiring. There's going to be a new manager at the helm, and with that, that's going to come some changes to the lineup. Plus, let's say it, injuries totally derailed this team at several times this season. I'm looking forward to some healthy starting pitchers and even better seasons from Bybee, Williams, and Allen, who all had great rookie seasons in their own right. I mean, I think the additions of Ramon Laureano and Cole Calhoun were invaluable to the clubhouse, so I hope to see them return. But I guess what I really want above all is a healthy Guardians team.
100%.
Well, how's it going, Portage County? I'm Michael Neenan, and I'm here to tell you what's happening in the major leagues as we go around the diamond and preview last night's games. Because starting things off, we have Pirates taking on the Braves in Atlanta, the third of a 3-game series. Start at the top of the 6th. Brian Reynolds doubles on a fair hit down right field. Ji-Hwan Bae, he's trying to go home for a score. Well, does he make it? A bad throw, and yes, he does. The Pirates draw first blood. And later, with 2 outs, Jack Sawinski hits down center field for a double, and Brian Reynolds helps him make it an RBI as the Pirates go up 2-0. All right, now, the bottom of the 7th with 2 outs. Hey, did you know that Ronald Acuna Jr. hits dingers? Well, the Pirates outfield says so too, as he lets a couple guys go in. He tries to go to second, but wait a sec, no one was there at first base to get him out. And at top of the 9th, Jared Trillo. He hits a fly ball with 2 outs, but Austin Riley is there to make the catch. And the Braves win 5-3. They are the first team to clinch a playoff spot in the MLB.
The Cardinals facing off against the Cincinnati Reds. 1-0 early in this one, but that is going to change as that is a deep drive to right center field. Cincinnati going ahead 2-0 pretty early there. That's Will Brennan knocking it out. As that bat flip was pretty nice with it too. Now 2 on, 2 out, and it's going to be a base hit up the middle. St. Louis scores 1, and they are in business in the 4th, starting that off 2-1. It is now 3-1 though. Cincinnati adding on some insurance runs. A deep drive to right field, and it goes off the wall. Bad play by the outfielders, and that's going to allow the runner to score all the way from first base, and it is a legged out triple for the Reds. 6-1 now. Joey Votto, the Red, sends it deep and gone. That one didn't even see where it landed as it was crushed. Watch this moonshot as Votto just watches it too.
He's in the Brewers. Garrett Cole on the bump. He was throwing straight heat. 9 strikeouts through 7 scoreless innings. I mean, honestly, folks, there was really no offense in the main 9 innings of this game. Corbin Burns was also dealing. Burns had a no-hitter through the bottom of the 8th, striking out Volpe there. It was wild. We had to go into extra innings to really see something happen. Devin Williams came on the bump at the bottom of the 9th for the Brewers. He's going to strike out captain Aaron Judge. We're going to head to extra innings. Man on for the Yankees. Bottom of the 12th, Brewers up 3-1, and Giancarlo Stanton will go yard. Never a doubt about that one, and we are all knotted up at 3. We're going to head now to the bottom of the 13th with Kyle Higashioka up to bat. He will line one deep to left field, and the Yankees win 4-3 on a walk-off RBI double. A excellent pitching battle for the ages. That one ended in spectacular fashion in extra innings. New York Yankees winning 4-3.
All right, that's great, but you know what's even better? The Marlins taking on the Phillies. There's some playoff implications here. At the bottom of the first, Trey Turner shows off his newfound dad strength as he hits it out of the park for a 2-run home run as Kyle Schwarber also walks in. Phillies go up 2-0, and the bottom of the third on a 2-2 count. They don't call this guy Kyle Schwarbaum for nothing. He gives the Phillies a 3-0 lead. All right, let's go to the top of the 7th. Nick Fortes singles to left field. Kyle Schwarber, he throws to home plate, but Yuli Gurriel gets there first anyway. We have a tie game here at the top of the 7th. And with men on second and third bases, Matt Strahm gets a strikeout to close out the inning. All right, let's move to the top of the 8th, because after a Phillies pitching change on a 2-2 count, Brian De La Cruz hits a 2-run home run and probably hit a bird's nest too there. Gives the Marlins a 5-3 lead. Now, continuing, let's go to the bottom of the 8th. Nick Castellanos, what a surprise. He doubles to left field, and Bryson Scott scores to bring it between 1 run. All right, and would the Phillies be able to come back? Well, Kyle Schwarber strikes out. Well, lightning doesn't strike twice, folks. And as we move on, who's going to close it out? Well, the Marlins do. The Marlins take a 5-4 win, and they're now within half a game of the Diamondbacks for the 3rd wild card spot in the National League playoffs.
Things are heating up. So, Mike, with only 3 weeks left in the season, who do you have winning the American League MVP?
Yeah, I'm going to be completely honest with you, Liv. I think it's going to be Shohei Ohtani. I mean, yeah, we know he tore his UCL 2 weeks ago, which means he's not pitching anymore. But he still played 130 games. I mean, I'm just looking at his stats. He still leads the AL in home runs, on base percentage, slug percentage, and OPS. I mean, really, I just don't think any other player in the AL is close enough to catch up to him, and I think the voters will agree with that.
So you got Ohtani in the AL. Who do you have at the NL MVP?
That's a little more interesting. I mean, I think some dark horse candidates are Matt Olson and Freddie Freeman, but really I think their teammates, respectively, Ronald Acuna Jr. and Mookie Betts, are really the ones in this race. But if I had to pick one of them, I would have to go Ronald Acuna Jr. I mean, he just became the first player ever to have 30 home runs and 60-plus stolen bases. I mean, the guy is playing out of his mind. He's batting something like 336. I mean, the man hits dingers. What can I say?
So good.
Well, who do you think is going to win the Cy Young in each league?
So, starting with the AL, I would say Garrett Cole. I mean, you know, not a lot of great pitchers in the AL right now. Really, a lot of the really good ones are in the NL. Yeah, shocker, I know. So, as for the NL, it's a little more interesting, just like the NL MVP race. I do think it's going to be Blake Snell of the Padres, though I do give an honorable mention to Zach Gallen and Justin Steele.
Right now, if the season ended today, Baltimore Orioles are in that number 1 seed, Houston Astros at number 2, Minnesota Twins at number 3, Tampa Bay Rays in that 4th seed, Toronto Blue Jays in the 5 seed, and the Seattle Mariners rounding it out with the 6th seed.
And over in the NL, the Atlanta Braves have been holding that 1 spot for a while, but the Los Angeles Dodgers right on their tail at the 2 spot. Milwaukee sitting in the 3rd seed, Philadelphia at 4, Chicago at 5, and Milwaukee at 6. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere yet, and make sure to grab those coffee mugs as Nico Crespo gets ready to brew up some hot takes after the break.
How's your hair? Is it pretty?
Daddy.
It's pretty.
Maybe I'll say that.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education. What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else? Or will you dare do something different? Like be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills. The smarts? Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget. That'd be cool. Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself? What are you gonna make of me?
Good evening, Portage County. My name is Nico Crespo, and I would like to extend an invitation to all of you watching to the Crespo Coffee Hour. This is a segment where I give some extra espresso shots for your Monday night with some hot takes from the sports world of the past week. We're going to start it off in the NFL with the hometown Cleveland Browns. This Browns team will make it to the AFC Championship game. And I know week 1 hasn't even ended yet, but they just beat the bricks off the Bengals team, who made it to the AFC Championship in back-to-back years. Let me give you the facts. The defense is the real deal. Jim Schwartz, as a defensive coordinator in Cleveland, has made this team step up from 25th in the league to now near impossible to get through. Let's talk layers. The D-line, Myles Garrett, Shelby Harris, Dalvin Tomlinson, Zadarius Smith, and Ogbo Okoronkwo made this run defense from, like I said, 25th last year to near impossible. Only 75 yards given up. Now let's talk about the secondary. They had Joe Burrow in a chokehold. No turnovers, but held Burrow over or under 100 yards in his career worst QB rating of 52.2. 14 for 31 on the day for Burrow. Now, for the offense, Deshaun Watson was the big headline for the Browns. Can he return to that Pro Bowl form? Watson said that he can be even better from his career year with the Texans in 2020. Sunday did not prove that to me, but he made some really good passes that showed flashes from his past form. But again, this team is about running the ball. Over 200 yards rushing for the Browns. Nick Chubb, again, showing that he is the best running back in the league, over 100 yards on the ground. Finally, what makes this team dangerous is their schedule. They have a last place schedule. In addition to their 6 divisional games, they play the Colts, Texans, Cardinals, and the Bears, which were all last place teams last year. This is a team to keep an eye on, and I'm sure this team will appear to many Crespo Coffee Hours to come. And then we stay in the NFC, staying in the North Division. The Green Bay Packers surprised a lot of people, specifically Jordan Love. I like this team a lot, and this team before week 1 was being counted out with the likes of the emerging Lions and the Vikings, but not by me. The Packers will win the NFC North this year. Jordan Love will lead this team to a division crown, and I think Jordan Love will be the next great Packers QB. It just seems like there's this hierarchy in Green Bay organization with quarterbacks. Not only did Jordan Love walk into Soldier Field and beat the Braves, he beat them soundly. Love threw for 245 yards, including 3 touchdown passes with a QB rating of 123.2. I think this is the great test for Jordan Love and the Packers to see what they're really about. And for my last take of the night, the Cleveland Guardians will not be making the playoffs next year. Yes, this is an insanely early take as this year's MLB season hasn't even concluded yet, but I just don't see it happening. Obviously, the Guardians did not expect to be under 500 coming into September after what they achieved last year, and what it seems to me is they will be relying on the farm for next year. Expect George Valera to be called up, Brian Rocchio to have a permanent spot on the team, Joey Cantillo may even make the opening day roster. I could also see Shane Bieber being traded this offseason. The Guardians aren't big players into free agency, and obviously they failed this year with Josh Bell, who got traded to the Marlins, and now Mike Zunino, who got DFA'd and not in the league anymore. But if they were to make a splash, I would hope it would be someone from Japan, like starting pitcher Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Roki Sasaki, infielder Munetaka Murakami, and outfielder Jung-Hoo Lee. I think this team is going to need another year to solidify who's there and who isn't. They're going to need a year to get all these prospects the proper playing time they need. And it seems that manager Terry Francona seems like he's going to retire at the end of the season, so the search will be on after to fill his shoes. And that's all I got for you today. Like I said, I'm Nico Crespo, and keep sipping.
Don't turn that dial, folks. We'll be back with the debut of our new segments coming up.
Considering an online pharmacy? Explore BeSafeRx to find useful information and resources to help you purchase medicines safely online. A safe online pharmacy requires a doctor's prescription, has an address in the United States, has a licensed pharmacist, and is licensed by a state pharmacy board. It's best to stay away from online pharmacies that don't meet these criteria. Discover more helpful tips and resources at BeSafeRx. Go to fda.gov/BeSafeRx.
Danse, balance sur la cadence, ondule bien tes hanches au bal du dimanche. Danse, que la fête commence, dans ma belle robe blanche, je suis ton chou.
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Find yours at bedsider.org.
Welcome back, everyone. This semester we have the addition of some new segments, so let's get right into it. Welcome to Empowerment. Every week this semester, I'm going to highlight female athletics that may have flown under your radar. This week, let's talk about Coco Gauff. Now, I'm sure you've heard her name, but you may not know exactly what she did to make headlines. Well, this past weekend, Coco Gauff won the U.S. Open, making her the youngest American to do so since Serena Williams also won at 19 in 1999. Gauff defeated the soon-to-be #1 player in the world and the reigning Australian Open champion, Aryna Sabalenka. Gauff dropped the first set 2-6, but roared back to win the following two sets 6-3 and 6-2 to claim her title. This was absolutely a full moment for Gauff, as her first time at the U.S. Open ended in defeat to the then defending U.S. champion, Naomi Osaka. This time, Gauff ended victorious in Arthur Ashe Stadium, and she stated in a post-game press conference that those who were trying to add water to her fire only doused it in fuel. Well, Gauff's flame is certainly burning bright. Congratulations.
Coco definitely has a very bright future in front of her. From the best women in sports to the best bets. Welcome to Blake's Best Bets. Every week I'll be covering my picks for upcoming NFL games. This week I have a player prop and a game pick. I am targeting Calvin Ridley's over in reception yards next week versus Kansas City. After being out for more than 600 days, Ridley did not miss a beat week 1, with finishing with 8 receptions, 101 yards, and a touchdown. The Chiefs' young secondary showed some holes in last week's loss versus the Lions, and I believe Lawrence will be looking for his star receiver a lot once again. For my game pick, it might sound a little biased, but give me the Brownies spread of -2.5 versus the Steelers on Monday Night Football. The Steelers looked all sorts out of place Sunday versus the 49ers and is not going to get any easier facing off against a lockdown defense and explosive offense. Browns will cover with ease if they play like they did week 1.
It's time for our men on the Silver Mountain. For my pick this week, I chose Sean Strickland, the UFC middleweight fighter who upset Israel Adesanya in what is being called the greatest upset in UFC middleweight title fight history. It is important to note that Strickland wasn't even supposed to be challenging Adesanya, but after another fighter fell through, Adesanya campaigned for Strickland to take his place. But this proved to be a mistake, as Strickland dominated the fight, defending 65% of his competitors' strikes. Strickland also outlanded Adesanya 137-94 in total strikes. He also dropped Adesanya with a right hand, which makes him the first ever UFC fighter to do so. Strickland was up against the odds, but he still defeated the reigning middleweight champion, and for that, he is my man on the Silver Mountain.
And for my man on the Silver Mountain, I'm going with Browns defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz. His first game in Cleveland since coming over from Philadelphia was nothing short of phenomenal. After signing a $275 million contract, Joe Burrow looked like he deserved none of it after only putting up 82 yards and no touchdowns. Schwartz put on a masterclass in switching up defensive schemes and dialing up pressure when needed, only allowing 6 first downs and 142 total yards against the reigning AFC North champs. Schwartz and the Browns D will have all the momentum heading into Pittsburgh for a Monday night showdown next week. I predict Schwartz will keep sending the dogs after Kenny Pickett and a deflated Pittsburgh offensive line. And that is all the time we have tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in.
For all sports updates, follow our socials at TV2KSU Sports on X and Instagram.
I've been Blake Goloja.
And I'm Liv Sharp. Have a great night, everyone.
Finding life beyond Earth is no longer a dream. It's a discovery that will likely be made during our lifetime, and it will change everything. We are home to over 100 explorer scientists. Our purpose is singular: to understand the origins and prevalence of life and intelligence in the universe, so that we might lay the framework for humanity's next steps to the stars. We are the SETI Institute.